Aí muita gente fica sem entender. Mas ele é a mistura.
Tá metido aqui.
Mesma hora que tá chovendo, tá fazendo sol. Na mesma hora que o tempo tá parado, tá ventando.
Oh, yeah. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you're at, whatever time it is, whatever day it is. The time is now and the place is right here. This is Amar Mansoor, also known as DJ Amar Mansoor. Finally decided to go ahead and start doing these YouTube videos. Everybody's doing these YouTube videos. And every time somebody comes out here to Salvador, Bahia, where I live, here in Brazil, and they talk to me and they're always like, brother, you got a lot of knowledge. You're a teacher, man. You need to teach and you need to put this stuff on YouTube. The problem is I'm shy and I feel like I'm talking to myself when I do these videos. But you know what? I gotta get over it. I gotta get out of my comfort zone, which is not even a comfort zone, because your brother going through some things right now, but it is what it is. I gotta start somewhere. So let me tell y'all a little bit about myself. I got a couple of followers, I think 4, 5, 10 maybe, that have seen me. I've been in Salvador, Bahia, Brazil, for 16 years almost. In December to be 16 years. I came out here in 2009 with my now ex-wife. We split and I've been here ever since. I came out here with the intention and the goal, which I also have achieved. Pandemic kind of knocked that back, but my goal was to create a social project. It's called Guerreiros da Luz World Peace Initiative, and the base of the social project, I know y'all can see the shirt, right, is Capoeira. I don't know who of y'all know about Capoeira and who don't. When I was a kid, 16, 17, nobody knew about Capoeira, then it became really popular. Ô, tudo bem? Pode chegar, tá vindo pra Capoeira? É. Tem capoeira terça, quinta e sábado. Sim. Agora eu tô começando, eu comecei semana passada, mas ela tem quantos anos? Vai fazer 2? É, dá pra botar aí. Opa! Ah, dá pra começar, dá pra fazer os brincadeiras mesmo. Essa idade nem cobra. Nem cobra mensalidade. Qual horário ele tá no press? Ela estuda de tarde?
Não, vai agora, só chega às 5h30 da tarde.
Então pra ela seria 18 horas. A turma das crianças de noite é 18 horas.
De noite.
Dá pra ele brincar mesmo, tipo sem... Como ele tem 2 anos, ele vai fazer mais isso aí, mas ele vai querer fazer algumas brincadeiras quando ele estiver pronto. Uma second, yeah. Tem muito espaço e a gente vai até o espaço aqui em cima. So, Guerreiros da Luz World Peace Initiative, that's my project. It was created back in 1998, 1999, when I first got to Brazil. Let me back up a little bit. I came across Capoeira because I was involved in various activities that were negative. As a young kid growing up in the project, so I grew up in Red Hook. So I got to high school and got into a couple of fights. We had a little crew, and then one day I was gonna get expelled because of a big fight that happened. But my gym teacher and my basketball coach, my gym teacher, Miss Robinson, and my basketball coach, Mrs. G, they knew a guy named Joe Vera, who was a capoeira master. Thank you all for your help. That was in New York at the time, and they came with an ultimatum, and it was either you train capoeira in your free time, or you get kicked out of school. So I didn't want to get kicked out of school, because I didn't want to get beat up by my own family, and everybody else know me, because back in the days, how it used to be. You get in trouble, you get beat by your uncle, your cousin, your aunt, your neighbor, before you get home. So I was like, let me try this. So I ended up doing that, graduated in the top 5%, and then 2 years later, I got invited to represent the United States in a Capoeira tournament in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And taking a step back, I remember when I first got the ultimatum at school from Miss Rob and Mrs. G and Mr. Jalone. When they gave me the proposal, when they told me what they wanted to do, it was, I believe, on a Friday. I had been suspended for 1 week, and I had 1 more week to be suspended. So they told me on Friday after the first week that I was suspended. What they wanted to do is me and a couple of other my friends that they were gonna put into this. Whoever accepted, of course. And then the next week, Tekken 3 comes out, right? No, okay. It was Monday when they told me. So it was Wednesday when Tekken 3 came out with Eddie Gordo, the guy that does Capoeira. So, this was back in the days when they still had arcades on 42nd Street. So I went there and I saw this guy, Eddie Gordo, playing, the game, and he's flipping around and he's kicking and he's doing Mila de Cabasso and he's Armada and windmill and all this stuff. And I was like, wow, that's crazy, it's dope. And I had just heard about Capoeira for the first time on Monday, right? So this is Wednesday. And then that was cool. And then on Friday, my brother Bam, Amin Ra, he comes to me and he brings me this cassette. And the cassette is the movie Only the Strong. For those of you who are familiar with Capoeira, and some of you who aren't familiar with Capoeira but know of this movie is a movie about a young guy who goes to the army, and he's stationed in Brazil where he learns Capoeira, and his name is Mark DeCascos, the star. He learns Capoeira from Mestre Amen Santos. Then he comes back to his old high school in Miami because there's a problem with gangs, and he teaches a group of kids Capoeira, which they end up graduating, and happy ending story. I saw this on Friday. The movie almost made me cry, but then I realized, that there was something to this Capoeira. I didn't believe in signs before then, but somebody tells you about Capoeira on Monday. Wednesday you see a Capoeira character in a video game, and then Friday somebody literally puts Capoeira in your hand, like, wake up. So that's what happened. So when I got to Brazil, this was 1998, 1999, I was 17 going on 18. I had just finished graduating from, no, wait a minute. I was actually probably 18 going on 19, because I had graduated from high school of fashion industries. Then I went to Indiana Institute of Technology for a year. Then I came back to the States again, not to the States, but to New York. Stayed for a while and applied to a new college where I went to Alabama A&M. During this time that I was back in New York, after having graduated from high school of fashion, going to the Indiana Institute of Technology, and come back to New York, I was training with Mestre Edna Lima from Capoeira Brazil. From Capoeira Abadá. And she was the one that invited me to represent the United States in the Capoeira tournament in the Jogos Mundiais of Capoeira Abadá. So she brought me there. When I got there, I was just amazed. But one thing I remember that really struck me when I got to Brazil was as soon as I got off the plane, and this is back in the day, so when you got off the plane, you didn't have to go through the little tube. You actually got off the plane, went down the stairs, and you were on the runway. As soon as I put both my feet on the runway, I felt lighter. I felt like that proverbial chip on my shoulder be lifted up off of me. I felt lighter, and I felt at home. And that was my very, very, very first experience with Brazil. So now I'm in Brazil, got off the plane, the chip off my shoulder is lifted, and I jump in the cab to go meet the rest of the Capoeira people. And for everybody that's been to Brazil, that first time, especially Rio de Janeiro, Rio de Janeiro is a very beautiful city. So you get off the plane, you get in the cab, and you're going down the road to get to, the downtown or wherever you're going, and you just see this beautiful scenery, trees, and the architecture is like a mix between Baroque style and modern and colonial style. It's really nice. Then you start getting more into the city. You start seeing the people, and like people say, Brazilian women are beautiful. So you start seeing these beautiful women, exotic women, caramel brown skin, the dark brown skin, a little lighter brown skin, the little bit lighter brown skin, the whitish people. And you're just like, wow, this is a beautiful place, and the colors and the sounds and everything the energy is just different. So, those of you who had that first experience, you know what it's like. So yeah, I was in Brazil. First time there, I was a young kid, 18, 19 years old, and I'm getting to this place, and I'm like, wow, what is this? And it was amazing. It was just amazing. So I ran into my people, and they took me to the hotel. Okay, so the hotel, it was in the center of town. It was it wasn't Rua Riachuelo. It was the street over from Rua Riachuelo. Like maybe 3 or 4 blocks going up the hill from Lapa. But the event, the Capoeira event, was actually in Lapa, just behind the Arcos da Lapa, in Fundição Progresso. And man, it was amazing, brother. It was, my brothers and sisters, it was amazing. I don't know how many people were at the event, maybe 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people. And huge classes, and all the energy, everybody singing and clapping, and the capoeira going on. And I had practiced capoeira for 2 years prior to that, and I'd seen rodas, and I'd seen big events, even the Brazilian Independence Day in Little Brazil in Manhattan. I'd seen crazy rodas, but the energy was so great, it was so big and full of axé. It was amazing. It was only a 4-day event. And during that time, something that started planted the seed for Guerreiros da Luz, it was one night where the event was still going on. It was very late at night. I think it was like 11 o'clock, and they were just wrapping up the qualifying parts of the tournament. And it can take really long, these events. And I was sitting out in the plaza, just on the other side of the arches. And there's this kid, he's out there, he's got his capoeira clothes on, is all white, and he's training, doing his stuff, and he's, just training. And I'm like, yeah, it's like 11:15 at night. I'm like, what you doing? And he was like, I'm training. And I'm like, yeah, no shit, I see that. But it's like 11 o'clock. Shouldn't you be going home? And the kid looks at me. He's probably like 9 years old, 8 years old. He was like, I don't have a home. And I was like, what? He's like, I don't have a home. I was like, well, where do you sleep? And he was like, right over there. And I was like, oh. I was like, well, your parents? He was like, well, they couldn't afford me, so they kicked me out. So now I live in the street. My mind was blown, to say the least. So then after that, I was just like, what? How does that work? But I didn't say much to him after that. I was just kind of in shock. So the event went on. They did the big class at Copacabana Beach with all the people, met a whole bunch of people, great games, went back to the United States. I'm currently in Brazil now, in Salvador. So I went back to the States and I was like, what was that? What happened? What? How? And I just kept thinking in my head, like, how is it that an art form, a martial art, a culture, a form of expression that's so rich and so great, that had given me so much in such a short period of time, come from a place where you can have a kid that's 9 years old living in the street, not with his family, not with his mother, or not with his father, but by himself. And that shocked me. And that was where the seeds of, Capoeira, Guerreiros da Luz was created. A little backstory, before high school, I was always involved in the martial arts with my dad. I used to teach martial arts, karate and jiu-jitsu to younger kids starting from when I was 12 years old. So I taught at Jackie Robinson Center for Physical Education. Also I taught at my father's after-school center with the Nubian Algonquin Cultural Arts Center in Long Island. Taught martial arts with my dad with the Fruit of Islam and Muhammad Monks number 7. I was involved in the community and I had always taught kids. But I just expected that, Capoeira would be a super positive thing. I get there and just be a bunch of people in the plaza, which it was for that one instance. But then to see that poverty, I was like, how can something that gives me so much, not be implemented that same way in its home country? To the States, mind blown, everything. And then, this is back in New York, a lot of things happened, life changed in a hurry, had some issues, and then I got accepted to go to school again in Alabama A&M in the South, because coming from Indiana Institute of Technology, basically all white school, I think it was like 3% black, and all the black people knew each other because it was like 13 of us. I was like, I need a different experience, so I went to historic, black college, Alabama A&M University. Dope, shout to the Bulldogs. But I got there, and I started training. Still did capoeira with the guys out there. And then I got my grant money, that was left over, and I was like, I had a break, the winter break, and you know what I did? Right back to Brazil. I was like, I need to check, I need a reality check. What was that? And how does that exist? How does that exist? So I came back to Brazil again, back to Rio. This time, I didn't know anybody. I just came because I wanted to come. The ticket was really cheap back in the days. It was like $485 round trip. And I was like, I'm going, And when I got here, I reached back out to the people that I had met while I was, in the event. And there were some other people from Capoeira Abadá that were there when I got there, and I ended up staying with them. And I continued to train more capoeira and get more in depth into the culture, and find out more. So I was living in Rua Riachuelo, in an apartment there. just training at Humaitá with Mestre Camisa from Capoeira, and meeting other people. I started training Capoeira Angola with Mestre Paciência, Capoeira Renaissance, and they treated me very well. And it was and I only stayed for a month. I only had a month to stay, and then I got to see the realness of what was going on. I got to see exactly how many homeless children were actually on the street, and this was just after the massacre on the church steps of Sinaloa. They had the militia squads, the cops that were cleaning the streets, and there was an incident where the police killed about 9 young boys who were homeless, and they were sleeping on the steps of the church, and they killed them on the steps of the church. So this was a problem, and I found this like cultural center, social project called San Martinho, which was down the street from on Rua Riachuelo, and I started volunteering there during the days, and there was 6 kids that I volunteered with, and I had that experience. But then there was another thing that happened, similar to what happened during the tournament, where I was in Lapa. I'm sitting there buying one of those dogowns that has literally everything on it: peas, corn, egg, carrots, potatoes, ketchup, mustard, mayonnaise, hot sauce. Y'all know what that is. And, it's typical. And then I'm sitting there, it's about midnight, and this young girl comes up to me. She's about 11, 12 years old. And first she's like, excuse me. So she comes up to me and she's like, hey, can you buy me some food? I'm like, sure, no problem. I brought her a hot dog and a soda. She sat there and ate. And, I sat there and ate with her, and when we're done, she just sat there. She kept sitting there, and I'm like, okay, yeah, thank you. So I'm just sitting there, I'm looking at her like, okay, run along now, thank you. And she's like, I wanted to know, if you wanted to, have sex, I'm available now, I don't charge much. And I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, if you wanna, I need a place to stay, and if you wanna have sex with me, I won't charge you much. And I'm like, no. And she's like, well, I don't have a place to stay, whatever. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. And I was like, you know what? No, I don't want to have sex with you. I'm not into having sex with kids, and I don't pay for sex. But we stay in a huge apartment. For tonight, you'll have a place to stay. You don't have to worry about anybody touching you or anything. You can have my room. I'll sleep on the couch. And that's what happened. I brought her back. I told my housemates, I was like, she's gonna stay in the room. She'll have the key to the door. She'll lock the door. Just let her get a good night's rest. I'll sleep on the couch. And that's it. It could have gone really bad, yes. But it didn't. Thank the Most High, the Creator, through amateur. But that also really shocked me. And, having worked with the organization Shamanchino, seen the kids in the street, heard the stories about Sinaloa, and having come from the background that I came from, I was like, something needs to be done. So I created Guerreiros da Luz World Peace Initiative. And that's how it started. That was back in 1998, 1999. And now we're in 2024. So much has happened since then. And I'm going to update you as we come along. But this is the first episode. I don't want my episodes to be really long because I don't like listening to myself talk. So stay tuned for the next episodes. I'm going to make more content. I'm going to show you what life really is like in Brazil, well, Salvador, because I live in Salvador. I've been here 16 years. I know a lot of people. I'm also a DJ, massage therapist. I do city tours. I do contemplate tours. I do night, like pub crawls. So there's a lot of information that I have. So I'll be sharing that with you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share and share and share, because sharing is caring, and sharing will help your brother out. And even if you don't like the content, like it and share it anyway. What could it hurt, right? Let's get me to 1,000 subscribers, and let's help YouTube make me money. And I'll see you all in the States soon. Okay? Peace.
Holy